Hello and welcome back to Showdown. This is Enchanted, and today we'll be going through the second major level, Dad's Dream. So let's begin.
Oh boy, time to check in on the home improvement channel. And better still, my latest invention can do all that strenuous TV stuff. Robot, channel 15,006, please.
This should be a cinch. The pixie sugar muffin ingredient must be in that fuel tank on Dad's robot's back.
I always love your dad's dumb inventions. I bet he'll know how to get the sugar. Wake him up.
The magic TV signal must be making him sleep. How do I wake him up?
The easy way. We'll take you into his dream. You can wake him up from the inside.
Great plan, cutie!
This level's kind of interesting and very segmented compared to a few of the others. It's relatively simple in its layout.
Oh, guys, is this what my dad dreams about?
It's pretty weird, Timmy, but dreams tend to be weird.
Wow, that's pretty weird.
Dad's dreaming about a giant robot? What does that mean?
It means he likes giant robots. I mean, who doesn't?
Let's concentrate on the job at hand, boys. Waking your dad up, Timmy.
And how do we do that?
We need to shock him awake. I suggest wrecking his dream.
Do you mean destroy that robot?
Sure, it's not real. He can dream it again if he wants.
Okay, let's whip up some wishes and break Dad free of that strange TV magic.
A suit? But there's no one in it.
Oh, yeah, it's creepy. Let's make a wish.
It's interesting that those suits are the bad guys in this level, given Timmy's father's
That's a
job.
good start.
I also quite like that in the this game you can kind of see the
Okay, it's yours now.
environmental boxes, like the sky boxes, actually animating in the background, so like the clouds are actually
This'll help
moving.
you find
Also,
wish stars.
this is what the coins are used for, buying all these upgrades in the shop that we haven't unlocked many of yet. We're only going to buy that first one, the sprint boost upgrade, because it's the only one that we really have any use for, because the Starfinder is fairly basic and pointless, because the stars are fairly just right there in a way. There's not really much point buying a thing to help you locate them, because they're just right in the path most of the time.
Your dad's stream of consciousness.
Ooh, streamy.
We have to get down the river to reach the robot. But this boat doesn't look very seaworthy.
It's as if your dad's subconscious is conflicted as to whether it helps us wake him or not.
Yeah, he made us a boat, but out of weird stuff.
Can we make this boat more boat-like?
Sure, Timmy, this is a dream. We simply need to stimulate the parts of your dad's brain that want to wake up.
Yeah, what she said.
Well, I'm no brain surgeon, but if you think it'll work, I'll give it a try. Dad, what should I
Quite like
wish
the
for?
snack boat.
We need to get past that spooky empty suit. What are suits scared of?
Coat hangers, dry cleaners, golf courses.
Moths. Suits fear moths. Moths eat suits. That's Suit 101.
And moths are drawn to light.
I wish for light.
Hey, my good idea boat. I need that.
But you so rarely use it. You can lead moths with it, Timmy, and also see in dark areas.
Well, yeah, I quite like that Timmy's dad's major nightmare components are these like business suits. Given like his job as a pencil pusher, you can tell he's kind of you can kind of infer that he hates his job. He does it because it brings the money in, but he hates the actual job itself and would really prefer just building his dummy little inventions and things.
This is one of your dad's deep dreams.
Deep dreams are where all the really weird stuff comes from.
And we should be able to wake part of Dad's subconscious here?
That's right. Look for a machine that looks like a metaphor. We can use it to stimulate your dad's brain into dreaming a better boat.
What does a metaphor look like?
Just look for a machine, Timmy. Use Cosmo's idea bulb to lure the moths and keep going.
Also, quite like the atmosphere in this level. It's a decently spooky level,
That light better than yours.
despite the goofy nature of it.
Switches the lights.
It's a switch, light switch.
There's a quite little HUD thing in the top right where you see the little moth clicking on the bulb. That's really cute.
Go get him!
Also, the empty suits are just creepy as heck as well. They're like really unnerving. Especially because later on in this video you'll see how they attack. And it's kind of weird. But interesting. We have to be very careful, of course, because if the moth gets hit by any of these like other light sources, it will fly into them and get zapped like a bug on a bug zapper. Because of course it's a moth, that's what light bulbs do to them. These frogs will eat our moth, so let's just not let that happen, shall we? Just trust me that that's what they'll do if left alone.
Go, Moth! Go, Moth! Go!
The frogs are cute though, I don't mind them. They're just kind of... Oops. They're just kind of annoying when you don't know how to navigate around them. Generally, this level is all about learning how to use the obstacles or how to avoid them and things like that. It's mostly, this level's about maneuvering and working out how to maneuver properly in such a way you can get the moth where you need it to get to. And of course, things get a little bit more complex as it goes on. Never overly complex because it is a kid's game, but it manages to add a little bit of an aspect of thought to it. Like here, for example. We have to get them off past that light switch and the other ones, so of course it's a very basic puzzle, but it's there. It was like the enemies being little wrenches and things.
Never underestimate a hungry moth.
And you hear they're getting confused because they think I've got them off with me when I don't. So there's a few times in this level where they'll say things that they shouldn't be saying yet because the context isn't correct, but the game just got a little bit confused sometimes. And coming up to a really cute little environmental thing, these little light bulb creatures. I really like them, they're really adorable. I don't really know what these glowworms are supposed to be beyond glow. I think they're just glowworms actually, that might just be it, but like, they're cute. So I like them. And here is just a basic timing puzzle. So let's get this moth past it, shall we? So of course there's going to be like one more suit up here. Oh. That was a very close one. That could have been bad.
Fall now, Mr. Suit.
But yeah, because this level is very kind of segmented, it's very kind of easy to explore. There's not really many things you can
It's a dream representation of
miss.
Buddy or Dad's brain.
I don't understand. How do you guys know this stuff?
All fairies are trained in the ways of the human mind, except me.
So I guess this lever wakes this part of Dad's brain up.
You learned fast. You've recalibrated your dad's brain. He should be thinking of a better boat now.
Well, that's a crummy boat.
We need to stimulate more of dad's brain.
But also, like, the interesting aspect with all these levels is they're all kind of a similar sort of a branching path situation, but they're all presented in very different ways. Like in this level, the paths are very distinct, having these massive corridors separating them from each other. Because you're in distinct parts of Timmy's dad's brain, while Fairy World feels more interconnected even if it isn't, because it's meant to feel like an actual town. And the other levels have similar kind of... They're still separated into segments, but those segments vary in how they are connected. And that makes this very interesting to see how the levels are going to work.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Moth. Dinner time!
As opposed to the first game where it's just a bunch of straight lines, with not really much variation in the structure of the level or how the level was put together in general. But yeah, the longest pin meter is really helping here, because the fact that we have the trophy room as well is cute. The But I quite like the sprint meter is now a lot longer, so that makes it very much easier to capture stars with. Because before it was just a little bit too short.
Sorry, little star, but we need
Only one star till wish time.
We need a way past that huge metal block we saw.
It looks very heavy.
Ooh, metal is heavy. One time I dropped a pan on my foot. Well, I never did that again, except for the other times that I did.
Metal's heavy and also magnetic. I wish for an ultra-powerful super magnet.
Oh dear, we made a mistake, Timmy.
Are you kidding? This is great, guys.
But it's not an ultra-powerful super magnet.
It's a super powerful ultra magnet. No!
Guys, it's great. Stop moping. We've got work to do.
This is a fairly basic tool, but it actually has a couple of
With
uses.
your ultra magnet.
Because this is actually our primary weapon for the level. You see the little ammo counter in the top right. We'll explore that in a minute when we actually get to when it's used. For now, let's just get these coins and this second massive corridor, shall we? I also quite like that each of the sections of the dream have a very distinct look to them.
Of this deep dream.
Caves, Wanda. Caves and metal. Everyone dreams of caves and metal.
Seems pretty big.
Wow, your dad doesn't skimp on his dreams. He's committed.
It looks as though your magnet will come in handy here.
Great. Let's go smack Dad's brain some more.
See that jump, Timmy? Running around?
Use your magnet to suck it up. Then you can shoot it back out.
Yeah, those little buckets with legs
Don't get killed.
are basically ammo refills. You just kind of use a magnet on them and you just suck up infinite numbers of bolts from them to refill the ammo as much as you need to.
That wasn't funny.
Find another way across the water.
Yeah, here's where the game got a bit confused because I didn't do the thing that the game thought I was going to do.
The mine
Here, of
is
course,
infested. We need to get rid of that light somehow.
we need to get rid of that light, and this is one major use of the magnet, is the killing the light switches. And the light bulbs, I mean, because now we can actually take them out permanently and not have to worry about timing. Of course, timing never comes up again because now we can break the bulbs, but you get the idea. And it still kind of does because of these toads, which still, of course, eat moths. We just need to be a lot more careful about them. But we do have another way around them now we have the magnet. If we shoot the magnet gun at them, they eat a bolt and get a little bit momentarily stunned while they digest it. This part's particularly annoying though because you have to watch the cutscene every time for this particular frog, only this first one. But it just wastes so much time having to watch that cutscene. So you only actually have half the time the timer says you have to get past that frog. Because the first, like, third of it is taken up watching the frog's eating animation, because it's introducing the concept. They could have easily just had it only play the once, but it was one of the many ways this game's a little rough. Yeah, the magnet gun is pretty much just like a key, basically, to open these doors with. It's visually interesting though, I quite like the way they kind of collapse, it's very satisfying to watch.
In your dad's dream? Excellent!
So I like the whole idea that they're being dismantled gradually, and so it's just all falling apart. Also there's all the weird moaning and the constant repetition of one of Timmy's dad's lines. It does a very good job building the atmosphere of this level, it's a little bit spooky. I quite like the wrecked cars in the middle and everything like that, and all the, like, the ruined machinery and things. Now we've gone from raw material kind of an areas to this kind of a processing area. And like the previous area was very abstract, it was kind of the very core of the mind. This is just disordered random nonsense. So definitely there's a progression going on throughout this level as well, that we're going into higher order parts of Timmy's dad's brain from his id, where it's just random assortments of nonsense that doesn't really mean anything. this area, which is kind of, it's starting to resemble having any kind of structure to it because of like the fact there's a crane here. So obviously it's starting to design things and things are starting to be put together. This is like the raw ideas that he has with no concept of how they're meant to come together. And of course the third area of this level will complete the visual metaphor. The triptych, if you will. Yeah, those two coins are really easy to miss. On top of that vertical platform.
Oh, never mind. Cancer.
Yeah, the whole, like, the fact that they keep distorting and breaking because of the engine is actually just makes this level even creepier, because, like, you end up with, like, the cute little, spanners end up just being, like, weird Doc Ock looking monstrosities because of the way their limbs are kind of stretching and distorting all over the place in a very unnatural way. The braking actually makes this level look better because of that. It's very kind of Junji Ito meets Black & Decker.
Magnet up the junk, then spit it back out.
Yeah, we know. But first I'm gonna magnet up this junk.
Oh, a sticker. Make it into a stacker.
So let's distract the frog. There we go. That worked surprisingly well, given it was nowhere near it. I'm gonna see if we can eat through walls. Let's get the moth and get it there where it needs to be before. This is weird as well because there's no actual suit here. There's no reason for this moth at all. There's no suit. Why is the moth here? Why does this puzzle exist? Here's the last set of stars. So once we've collected the last 3 stars and got the final wish, we're going to go back to the previous 2 areas and explore before we go to the 3rd area. Because we have stuff to do. I've got that computer panel as well, the arcade machine, sort of a, or maybe like a pilot seat or something like that. Oh yeah, before we see the culmination of how Dad's functions are represented, we're going to get this last set of stars and then be careful of the frog. Ooh. Get them off back before it finishes eating.
Smells like eggs.
Why does it smell like eggs, Cosmo? That was an odd joke for you to make. We don't need to interact with the frogs in any way. They're just kind of there. Of course we can feed them and things, but we can't really actually like do anything to harm them or confuse them or do any kind of weird cute animation. They just kind of ignore everything that's not the standard ways of interacting with them.
Too low.
Maybe it would be higher if it wasn't asleep.
Now you're talking my language.
I'm willing to give it a go. I wish for something loud. Cool, a klaxon.
Aw, I was hoping for a stadium full of football fans. They're loud.
But not very portable, Cosmo. Timmy, your klaxon will wake up sleepy objects.
It's a super irritating action klaxon.
Now we have the final item. We don't really have much to do with it, but in this first area we do have 2 new wishes to play with, so let's go there and see what we can do that we weren't able to do before, shall we? There's quite a lot here, a lot of coins and a few collectibles too. Now we have the magnet gun and the klaxon, we can get everything. We'll have just enough to get with 1-1 pass without having to come back and grind for ammo. I kind of made this like just perfect. There we go. Okay, this is all like random parts with no real structure to it. Just like goo and metal is randomly assorted. The second area is pieces of junk and things like that, but things that have a definite purpose to
I
them.
sometimes dream of stickers. It's normal.
So we'll see how the third section goes in a few minutes when we get to it. You can probably guess. But probably not quite how it'll be put together, but we'll see when we get there. Now let's clean out this area, shall we? Let's klaxon, shall we? I quite like the idea of startling the tool benches and everything like that awake. That's pretty funny. Of course, some of these, if you make the mistake of just trying to go, like, skip to the end of the area and just get what you remember again, you might end up missing a few of these, because the scatter's got the entirety of each section of the level. There's quite a few of these little doors that seem relatively innocuous, but they all have something useful in them. And here's our last light bulb for this well, actually our last light bulb for this section of the level. And notice that projectiles in this game do have a bit of a homing effect, which is very nice. I also like that the walls give you ammo as well. That's very nice.
Wait. Oh, that's good.
Now we've got everything in this area. Let's move on to the second area, shall we? We've only got one thing we can do there, or that we couldn't do there. So let's take care of that, shall we? And then we'll finally see how this level culminates. I like all the massive holes in the walls and the textures and things like that. It definitely helps this part of the level feel unfinished. As in half-built, not like poorly designed unfinished. This is a particularly interesting little section we can get on top of the crane, which is nice. The crane's a cool set piece, which of course has the big secret of all the coins. And now we're done in here. By the way, the first time I played through this level to try and record it, I actually missed the coin on that on the platform that goes up and down over there, and had to get all the way back there. That was really annoying. This time I streamlined things a little bit better than that. So let's finally go to the third and final area, and see how things progress further, shall we? This tunnel feels a lot more finished than the others. It's a lot more deliberately designed.
This one looks like a good dream. For your dad, anyway.
Does your dad like tools? I can't tell.
But some of the tools seem lazy. Don't forget to use your klaxon.
The sleepers must awaken!
Okay, I must ignore all the weirdness. I've got to shock my dad's brain into useful boat-improving activity.
So here, as you can see, the whole idea of this area is not only have we visually gone up, like to literally his higher functions of the brain, because we're now in the sky, but also, because of the whole higher function thing, this actually has real structure to it. It is something that in his mind he is actively building. He is finally structuring these thoughts in a way that makes some kind of logical progression. Like, instead of just randomly strewn all over the place, he has little shelves everywhere and lockers to keep his tools in and things like that. And it just generally, it feels much more deliberately put together. And there are mechanisms and things that make a kind of logical sense, not interesting to see. And this quite a cute little mechanic here.
Stand on it, then klaxon it. It's kind
you can actually make it just running around the outside edge of the platform, but it's quite tight, and it requires you to run all the way there and have the double meter run. I just want to do a bit more effectively. I also like the little floating, like, sentries and things that you see, like, on the edges of the level, like the little heads and things that float around and stuff, because and the trophies too, because it definitely feels like things are starting to culminate. Like, there's little inventions showing up here and there that in his head he's already completed, like those little sentry things floating around everywhere. They don't really do anything, but they're there for the visual thing. And the spots are going to be a little annoying, but kind of funny too, because I didn't know this is even possible. Yep, I just completely screwed that one up. I didn't even know that could happen. I thought they were on a very specific path. And of course, the final section of this level is going to be the giant robot. And I quite like the way that kind of the whole idea of construction is gradually growing. Like, the first section of the level was just random disordered thoughts about metal and randomly industrial things that don't really have any purpose. The second section of the level was him coming up with, like, which parts of which thoughts would actually be useful and which ones could be confined to the trash heap in the middle, like all the cars and computers and things. And now he's finally started to organise his thoughts and assemble them in a way that makes some kind of logical sense, which of course will culminate in the giant robot, his actual inside-of-his-mind invention. Something he's actually created, even if it's only in his own head. I quite like the cool sense of progression there. And the whole idea of the suits being enemies, because they're kind of like trying to remind him of work, something he's trying to avoid thinking about. Like, this is his escapist fantasy, and the suits are unwelcome here, because it's not helping him escape anything. Let's get this moth over there, shall we? Once we've claxoned the thing, because if we put the light bulb away, the moth will just vanish. There's no real, like, thing. You can't just come back for it when you've done the puzzle. You have to do the puzzle first, and then race to get them off. And luckily you have barely enough time to make it. There we are. It actually kind of makes sense as well, given his status as a pencil pusher, that he'd have an affinity for mechanical stuff, because that would require blueprints and things. Like, it's him taking his day job as a pencil pusher and using it to fuel his passion, like drawing with pencils, probably using them to draw blueprints and things for random nonsense he wants to build, like the sugar-powered robot. I quite like the whole, like, aspect of the level as well, with the whole, like, physically going up in his head, and now we're in the sky, but now we're in his higher functions. It's like, it's a good visual metaphor for what's happening in Timmy's father's brain. It's a bit Freudian in the ego, super ego kind of way, but it's still kind of, it's an interesting way of putting it. This is an interesting little puzzle. You just have to know to go up first, because we won't have time to get up here otherwise. So let's get the glowworms going, shall we? Because of course here we can just run down, we have to wait for the elevator to go up, so... I mean, for the floor bench to... Oops. There we are. So you have to wait till the tool bench to raise or some bounce, so we can just kind of do it. So of course, before we go for the actual moth, we just want to take out these light bulbs. Oh my god, I actually managed to thread the needle a bit there. Oh, this is the attack animation. They engulf you and throw you out. Which says a lot about how Timmy's dad figures his suit to be, like some kind of a sapient, malevolent organism that just won't let him go because he knows he needs it on some level to provide for his family. He just doesn't want to admit that.
You have nearly all the crowns here.
Where did you go?
And those final 20 crowns are actually located in a very specific set piece.
The boat's finished. That's much better.
But we need fuel. Head for that cortex portal-y thingy.
Of course, the final 20 coins are in that cortex portal thingy. There's only a few of those kind of portals in the game. I think maybe 2 of them. But they're an interesting little kind of mechanical diversion, and we'll see that in a minute when we actually get there. For now, I'm just making sure we have everything we need, and we do. We're only missing those 20 coins. So let's go for it, shall we?
What happens if you fall asleep in a dream? Do you wake up?
I'm just kind of playing with the button here just to see what they say, because I never really bothered with
I
it before.
expected to see more cake in a dream.
Of course you did, you also have a chocolate one though.
So we need to power the boat with fuel?
That's right. We need to get into your dad's central thinking cortex thingy. That's where all the brain fuel is.
Please, no surgery!
Don't worry, hon. We just enter via the portal.
But you can't fly. And cortexes must be flown through. A ferry has to do it. That's us.
Who do you want to suck fuel from your dad's brain, me or Cosmo?
Of course here we'll go for one though, because it's literal brain surgery. I quite like this section because it kind of takes us the complete opposite direction to what we were previously. Previously we were in like very deliberate kind of like it was starting to become more and more organized. Now it's just a mess because now we're in the kind of the lizard brain of Timmy's father, just the random assortments of thoughts that aren't really going anywhere and aren't really doing anything useful. This is just where his mind wanders to when he's not really consciously thinking of anything. It actually reminds me a bit of the dream levels in the Ratatouille game, which are like the food-based levels, which are really interesting. I really like those levels. Oh, damn. Main problem is, of course, if you miss those coins are kind of hard to get because you have to really kind of nail the depth perception, and the depth perception in these sections aren't the best. I mean, they're an interesting diversion from the rest of the game, but it's a little frustrating, like that kind of stuff where like it feels like the coin should be a little further in than it was in the depth on the plane, but it just wasn't. Oh, and that kind of thing as well. We just kind of there's not really much room for error in this. You have a very big hitbox, but it's very precise, so you have to be basically exact. You just need a few more coins, so let's just redo that. Shall we get the last 2 we missed? But overall, I quite like the way the level's put together. It's got an interesting kind of a progression. I quite like the whole going up to the increasingly higher brain functions and slamming back down to his a lizard brain for this last section. It's a neat kind of bit of perspective messery, kind of trickery kind of a thing. Where you kind of expect to keep going higher and higher in his brain function, and now we're in a place where it's like the brain function is now at its lowest point. No structure, no consistency, it's just stuff in its purest form. Levers that don't do anything, paintbrushes embedded into scenery, a bear trap for no reason, you know, like... It's just like, it's basically the equivalent, the psychological equivalent of a dad drawer. Where the drawer where you just put like random batteries and things like that, and like things you don't know whether you'll ever need them again, like a random screw from an IKEA table that never got used, that sort of stuff. That's what this part of his brain is. It's just random nonsense, like his favourite snacks and tools and stray thoughts just scattered. And I find that really interesting. And now we're actually done. We've actually got all the coins, so let's finally go for the actual boss fight, shall we? Which is a little annoying, but it's easy enough. Here we just confirm we've got everything, and we do. I kind of like the stream consciousness pun, but it's one that's been used to death. Not particularly. Stop wearing Lava Girl, use that pun.
We made it to the giant robot!
If we destroy it, Dad'll wake up. So how do we do that?
I was hoping you'd have a plan.
Me too!
Luckily, it hasn't seen us yet.
Security alert process initiated. Scanning. Tiny life forms detected. Subroutine activated. Source code. Stomp. Initiating stomp module. Destroy tiny life forms.
Run!
Well, first of all, I quite like as well that Timmy has little pajamas in this level. He often has like an outfit that fits what the level is, and I find that really adorable. It's a nice little visual touch. Also, that the robot has Timmy's dad's voice is interesting too. It's like it's this big kind of power fantasy for him. Since he feels trapped in his job, this is kind of the one thing that an external force could not take away from him. Something that's powerful enough that gives him the power to fight off anything that will get in the way of his random inventions, like his day job and things. Like, this is how he wishes he could be. Something completely free of any kind of responsibility. Just doing whatever the heck he wants to do. Yes, I know I'm psychoanalyzing a cartoon. It's fun. And of course now he has lasers, now he's defending himself a bit more effectively. Oh, fumbling for catching his head too, that's cute.
He's big! This is a really bad
We want to get rid of the head stun. Oh my god, what's happening to him? His character model's going loopy! His final form is apparently a Cthulhu!
That's what a stomp subroutine does!
This part's annoying as well because we can't actually see the pillars, but at least now they won't ever appear again. The pillars are gone permanently forever now. Because there are multiple laps, of course, you can, like, if you fail to kill him on every pass. Like here, for example, those pillars will actually stay dead, I believe. But of course, the problem is with this part is you actually have to do all 3 of the wrecking balls. You can't just go back to the previous one if you fall behind on a lap. Like I learned here from my own cost.
Target acquired.
This should have gone up. But as you can see, it won't actually go up because we already used this wrecking ball. It's already spent, it's been used.
Oh no! That's what a stomp subroutine
So of course now
does!
we're just losing health. So let's just keep running, shall we, until we get to one we'll actually activate it. I also quite like that the trees here are actually brains. That's a cute visual. Like they have brain textures and things. Oh, that's annoying. I died just as I hit him, so that means of course we checkpoints. I do quite like that whenever you die he actually responds by laughing at you. That's a cute touch. Generally this game has a lot of little cute touches like that, like the characters reacting to your own death, that sort of thing. There we are. Let's finish this, shall we?
How many times have I told you not to break my giant robot inventions into 1,000 pieces?
Come on, Dad. It's not that bad.
Ego in turmoil must wake up.
Dad?
I just had the strangest dream. You were there, Timmy, and you were a very naughty figment of my overstressed imagination.
Dad, I need the sugar from your robot.
Oh, you like it, huh? It's the next inevitable phase in essential technology for very lazy people. Voice-activated remote control robots. You command it using the code words.
Which are?
Give me some sugar, baby. I'm going to my den to sulk and have a tantrum. But do as I say, not as I do.
Your dad sure loved his robot!
I had to traumatize him, but I got the pixie sugar.
And where parents are concerned, it's getting what you want that counts.
Overall, I quite like that level. It's a cute one, and a nice kind of introduction to the main meat of the game now that we're done with the Fairy World level. Which is sort of a it's an extension of the tutorial. And now we actually have a coin center available in the shop, which will tell us where all the coins in the level are, which is actually quite useful, because of how easy it is to miss some of them sometimes. But I'll see you next time. Goodbye.